Have you ever had the birds and bees conversation with your parents when you were young? Do you remember how awkward it was? Or if you're a parent and had that conversation with your child, it makes me cringe just thinking about it. However, what if I was to tell you that there is even a worse conversation than that? Even more awkward and more painful. Talking to your aging parents about money. Hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, a channel dedicated to creating personal finance content for the standard generation. Whether your aging parents have their finances in order or they didn't save for retirement, there comes a point in all our lives when we need to have the money conversation with our aging parents. But how do we have this conversation? How do we even start? So in this video, I want to share with you 5 proven methods that my wife and I personally use to talk to our aging parents about money. Number 1, ask for advice. If your parents are anything like mine, I'm sure they love to give advice. Even at my age of 40, my parents still love giving advice about anything and everything you could think of. What I should eat, how I should drive, my favorite, how I should raise my kids. Of course, like a good son, I try to listen patiently, but most often I'm just nodding my head without really listening. But you can use this trait to your advantage. Parents are reluctant to open about money because they feel uncomfortable about the decisions that they've made, or they don't want to feel like they're being lectured by their adult children. However, if you approach the conversation with the posture of asking for help, they might be more open about their own financial situation. I've used this tactic to learn more about my parents' retirement plan. Hey Dad, I'm learning more about 401k and retirement plans. It's fascinating. Where are you holding your 401k? Are you getting good returns? Oh, you don't have one? Okay, there you go. You learned something new. Number 2, use a story. People relate to stories, and so do your parents. I use this tactic with my parents to get them to speak to an estate lawyer. Hey Dad, do you know the artist Prince? Oh, you don't? Well, it doesn't matter. So this guy had a lot of money, but he died without a will or an estate plan. So guess what? This was 5 years ago and his siblings are still in probate court fighting over the estate. In the perfect world, this would naturally transition to a discussion about what he needs to do and how it would be most responsible for him to set up an estate plan so he doesn't leave you and your siblings to be in an awkward situation in the probate court after his passing. Or better yet, by having basic documents such as the power of attorney and healthcare directives, making things smoother for everyone. Most likely it will take several conversations to get your parents to act, but using a story is a great way to start the conversation. Number 3, share your own financial experience. As my wife and I've learned money lessons from paying off our $105,000 student loans and managing our expenses, we became more comfortable about discussing money in general. We try to leverage this by discussing with my parents the lessons that we learned through the money mistakes, with hopes that they would open up about their finances. This has worked well to help my parents to not only get comfortable speaking about their finances, but understand our money habits as well. Money decisions. Why we make certain money decisions, such as not buying a new car even though we can afford it, investing, or why we don't obsess over individual stocks like some other people they know. Insurance. Why we offer a cheap term life insurance versus the more commonly advertised whole or variable life insurance. Due to both language and cultural barriers, my parents grew up without strong financial literacy. They immigrated to the United States to provide my sister and I better opportunities for the future. However, beyond the advice of study hard and go to college, they couldn't provide any advice on investing or wealth building. They believed that if someone drove a nice car, it was because they were successful and rich. My wife and I know now this to be not true. But my parents would scratch their heads when they saw us downgrade our cars to increase our savings rate after we got a pay raise. Shouldn't you be upgrading your car if you're making more money? I don't think they'll ever completely understand our decision making, but opening up about our own money lessons frequently have allowed them to open up about their own perspective on money so we can learn from each other. Number 4, don't start the money conversation with money. Many people have a visceral reaction to the word money. It conjures up so many different emotions that as soon as they hear anything regarding money, they either shut down or spiral down to an unproductive rant. So a good strategy is not to start the conversation directly about money, but about another topic that could achieve the same goal. For example, instead of asking your parents, how much do you have in your retirement account? Ask them, what are your plans now that you're retired? Or are you and mom planning to take more trips now that you have more time? This could open up the door to their lifestyle affordability or even their thoughts about retirement. The key is to simply start the conversation and see where it goes from there. In your first few conversations, they might shy away from talking directly about money, but at least you're able to get the ball rolling and learn something from the process. If you approach the conversation with a willingness to help and understand, I firmly believe the dialogue will transition to a more productive place down the line. Number 5, anchor off current events. Again, if your parents are anything like mine, I'm sure they have an opinion about everything. From why the neighbors are so loud to why the current governor should be impeached. You want to be careful with this approach because you don't want to go down a rabbit hole of heated debate. But this could be an approach to get your parents to start talking about something they're interested or have an opinion about, and segue to a topic more related to their personal finance. I've used this tactic to discuss real estate with my parents and understand their mortgage situation. When the mortgage interest rates were at a record low, I asked them why they thought it was so low and if they had seen anything like it before. Of course, this automatically led to them talking about, back in my days, we had to deal with mortgage interest rates that were 5 times what you see today. But it also led to their thoughts about refinancing and if it made sense for them or not. The ultimate goal is to learn more about your parents' financial situation with the objective of understanding and supporting them. There is no one right way or one-size-fits-all approach to talking to your parents about money. These are some of the tactics that my wife and I found success in. Whether you use some of the tactics that are listed here or not, the most important lesson is to start. As our parents age, unless our parents have meticulously planned out their finances and share the plans with you, there might come a time when you might need to deal with some of the messy aspects of their finances. I personally prefer to get ahead and have the conversation at my pace and timing versus down the line due to an emergency. Also, you might be surprised, some aging parents are eager to have these conversations with their adult children. They themselves have thought about it, but do not know where to start. They might be relieved that you're bringing up the topic. You're not going to cover all the topics overnight. It could take months or even years. But if you take the initiative to start today, you prevent the conversation by crisis down the line. Thank you guys for watching. If you found value from this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my other upcoming videos. I firmly believe that being part of the Sandwich generation doesn't have to mean financial stress. With careful planning and preparation, we can thrive during this stage of life. Help me spread the knowledge. Thank you again. I'll see you in my next video.